What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another edition of The Biz. I'm your host, Melly Mel, and this is season 1, episode 5 to be exact. Today's guest is record exec Doug Daniels. He's worked at many different labels, including, I got to read the list, Elektra, Arista, Island, Priority, DreamWorks, Geffen, and Interscope. And he was there through the bad boy days, right? He was at Arista for the bad boy days. He was with Whitney Houston for those days, right? And Floetry of DreamWorks, and the list goes on. He's got many stories and a lot of great advice. So let's get into it with Doug right now. Doug, so what's going on, man? How you been?
Mel, how are you, sir? I am fine. I am fine. Thank you much.
So real quick, I mean, obviously I know a lot about what you've done, but run down your resume from the beginning to now on the stuff you've accomplished.
Started my career in Atlanta. Started college radio. I wanted to be in the business, and I started out as a gopher, as an intern, as a make it happen, and I got a chance to work at Elektra. I was working at the King Center in Atlanta, and I was looking through an Essence magazine, and there was an article on a guy named Don Mizell, who started jazz fusion or black music at Elektra. So I called him, I wrote him a letter, and of course, I had no experience, so he said, thank you, but no thank you. And I know they still had an office, a regional office in Atlanta. So I went and knocked on the door and tried to get in. And the guy who was there, my mentor, a guy named Ralph Bates, long story short, he made it possible that I could start working at Elektra. And it was strange working through Elektra. So I worked for Elektra in Atlanta. Then I took my first real job in DC working for Elektra. Then I moved from Elektra, I moved up the ranks. I moved into New York as a national. And then from as a national Elektra, I wound up going over to Arista as a vice president. And then I came back from Arista back to Elektra as a vice president. I went back to Arista again as a vice president. And then from there, I think I went back to Elektra one more time. And then from Elektra, I went to Island to work with Hiram Hicks. And then I went to Priority to work with Garnett March. And me and Garnett kind of left Priority and wound up going to DreamWorks. And from DreamWorks, we went to Geffen, and from Geffen to Interscope. And then I kind of ended my career. The last thing I did in my career was Kendrick Lamar. Nope.
Monster album too, by the way.
That was the first and only platinum album that year.
Yeah, that was crazy. So why did you decide to get into the music industry? What made you want to do it?
You really want to know what made me want to? You really want to know what made me want to do it? I was working at radio, and I really wanted to get into radio, and I was working for a station in Atlanta. And I love being, on the air, and the artists come in, we interview them, and we go to the promo parties and all that. But always in the back of my mind, I always kept my eye on the promo guy. This guy came in with the artists. He rode around the limo, with the record stores, with the restaurants, with the parties.
It's the life.
It's the life. Yeah. What does he do?
Yeah.
So I thought about it, and I said, you know what? I want to go into promotions. And promotions just has an allure and a lifestyle and an energy all its own if you're going to get in that game and survive, and yet alone be able to move up the ranks and achieve executive status. So I loved it, man. I wanted to do that. I just looked at the lifestyle. There was a brother who worked for Columbia at the time, and I was sitting in the studio, and he was the coolest cat. And he always walked in with the artists, had his record bag over his shoulder. He was cool. It was just, I would see him out. It was just, come on, man, stop. Stop. And I got blessed, and I got lucky, and I got a chance to do the desires of my heart. And I loved every second of it. It's rough, wasn't easy, but I loved it to death.
Yeah.
I love it to death, brother, trust me.
So I'm sure. I mean, you got plenty of stories. I bet. What's one of like your favorite stories to tell?
So there really are some really, really good stories.
Gotta be.
Um, I think
I see the Whitney Houston plaque back there. So I mean, that's got to be a great story.
that was a crazy story. University of Davis, Clive, that was a great story. Whitney, that was insane. But one of the best stories, one of the hard one day, me and Garnett March, who was my boss, but a great friend, we were at DreamWorks, and we didn't have a lot of records, and we was fighting the competition,
Mm-hmm.
and there was politics going on.
Yeah.
At the company, DreamWorks was doing well, holding on, but its heyday was kind of over because by the time we got there, they had made so many mistakes and so many things that was fatal, it wasn't going to be able to be turned around.
Wow.
But nonetheless, we were there. So we were sitting in the car and we was talking, and he said, "Damn, man, when are we going to get a break?" And I looked at him and said, "Garnett, we have to make our own break." He said,
True.
"What, man?" So what we decided, I said, "Garnett, here's what we're going to go do. We're going to take these two girls, we're going to break them, we're going to make them nationwide, we're going to pop this, and then we're going to go someplace else. We're going to do this."
Mm.
And that situation was Floetry. And I
Wow.
loved every minute of it. So taking them from ground zero and breaking them in the whole 9 yards and knowing we had our hands in there, that was a great story. That was a great accomplishment. That was crazy.
Yeah, that is
That
a great story.
that was crazy.
And you said Arista too. Were you there when for the Bad Boy era and all that too?
Please, please.
Was it crazy?
It was crazy. Let me tell you how let me tell you how the Bad Boy era went down. So Puffy had got fired from Uptown.
Right.
Now, unbeknownst to a lot of people, Puffy and LA are partners. They were good friends.
Right. Right.
So LA helped broker the deal to bring Puffy into Clive. So LA and Puffy was upstairs with Clive. And when LA finished with Clive, the next person LA brought Puffy to meet in Arista, he walked into my office with Puffy. He said, "Doug, this is Puff. Puff, this is Doug." LA said to me, "Doug, I want you to do for Puff what you did for me." And I looked at Puff, and Puff looked at me, and I said, "Let's go make some history." And it was a crazy ride. We had our moments, but it was from Biggie and just from the whole nine and the whole thing. It was from the ground up. It was a beautiful thing.
Wow.
Not to mention the stuff that LA had with TLC and Tony Braxton, and then Dallas Austin was in the mix with Highland Place Mobsters and Illegal, and they didn't pop for him. So I made sure, and we worked on it to make sure that Monica popped for him. And then there was Sal Bedford was in, and he had Deborah Cox. So it was a very interesting time with different labels and people doing stuff, and Howard Hicks had his stuff too. So it was crazy, but it was, Arista was just, like I said, it's the University of Davis.
Wow. So what label did you have the most fun at, do you think? Or it's tough?
Without a doubt. The most fun really, with Do Real Me was Priority. Priority was the most fun. That was absolutely insane.
So when you say fun, like what do you mean? Like
fun?
Yeah.
Man, please. Listen, I can't tell you everything I have to say. And we wound up going to jail. But no, Priority was fun because my boss was Garnett. And Garnett was running, he was fighting in Priority. He was running his own division. He's brash, he's bold, he's doing his thing, and we're working together. We're up, we're working day and night. We're doing unorthodox things to pop these records. We had Mr. Childs, we're in Vegas, we're in LA, we're at the clubs, we got to get our artists out there. I'm getting into hip hop and street team shit, like, really? Okay. So I'm getting into the streets more than I have been and learning even some more of a lifestyle. Hip hop is hot. It's good. Watching this, I'm doing that, and then there's Death Row over there, and I'm watching LA. Yeah, okay, whatever. So here's Cube, and here's Snoop, and here's Mac 10, and me and Mac 10 looking at each other. We having words about bars. This thing was just the things we did and the fun we had. went to Jamaica. We went to Half Moon, and we went to go have a retreat at one time, and one time for a Radio One thing to hang out with Kathy Hughes and her company. And we had a villa, and bro, the villa was insane. The villa was insane.
Wow.
The minute we stepped off the plane, it got insane. And we just had a ball. We had a ball. We just had a ball. We worked hard. We played hard. We made sure we took care of our business, but we had a great time, and we could have a great time. Brian Turner let us spend money. We had a budget. You know, it was like, hey, okay. And we had a great time. It was great, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, you talk about a lot of fun, right? I mean, every label, it seems like you had a lot of fun.
The era was fun.
Yeah. Do you think the fun, or when and if did the fun start leaving? Do you think that happened?
No, the fun is gone.
Yeah.
The fun has been gone. Okay.
Why? Why do you think that happened though?
It was just the way business was conducted. It's just the way business has conducted. Business has evolved. You don't do those same things, you know?
Yeah.
The fun was we had promotional budgets, and you had bigger staffs, and you had conventions that you go to. They don't have conventions the way they do now. You know, we had other things. So we were meeting other people. We were living a different lifestyle. And we were actually working, promoting, marketing records in a different way, not the same way. The platforms aren't the same today, but the essence is still the same.
Yeah.
And you're still working with artists, and you're still out there. It's still a very exciting lifestyle, still a very exciting way to do business, and it has its own demands with it. But it was just a different era. It was wild and crazy, man. It was just wild and absolutely insane.
So how do you think an artist now in this day and time prepare to be in the industry? How do you think they should prepare?
Listen, only thing constant about life is change, and the business is always in a constant state of evolution, from acetate to digital to virtual, you know, so it moves. But the music remains the same. You know, that's what drives people, the music. Now, how you're presenting that music, how you're promoting and marketing that music, how you're selling that music, if you're selling it, you know, all these platforms and all these ways of distribution have changed. They're totally different. But an artist has to prepare. First off, you have to have a craft.
Yeah.
I don't care what artist you are, you have to have a craft.
Yeah.
And dedicated to that craft, good at that craft, so that your craft has some meaning, and your craft will have some value in the marketplace. You know, some bullshit lasts for a minute, but others, like, you know, Jay-Z is a craft.
Yeah.
Fat Joe is a craft.
Yep.
Outkast was a craft.
Yep.
You know, people were dedicated to their craft, and it shows.
Yeah.
You know, so, and then, you know, you grind, and you grind, and sometimes you get all the ingredients that make it possible that you can be successful and perform on a level that most people can't. It's like football, you know, or the NBA. There's only so many spots.
Right.
There's only so many spots. Many are called, but few are chosen.
Yeah.
You know, so it's but you have to develop your craft, and not only your craft. If you're smart, you also want to know the business of music. And the one thing I give kids today, I mean, not kids, but artists of today, they really starting to understand the business of music. Yeah. Okay. There's not a whole lot of horror stories, and a lot of these kids understand the business of music so well that they don't need a record company. Okay, that's when you really understand the business of music, when you don't need a record company. And because of technology, and because of how you reach people and what's available in the marketplace, if you're really, really smart, hey man, I mean, who knew you could make a video on your damn phone? Yeah. Who knew? Yeah. So what happened to that $50, $60, $100,000 budget for a video? I don't think so. I'm good to go.
Yeah, I don't need that, right?
You know, so its evolution is different. It's like I said, it's a different day. It's a different day, but it's still an exciting day.
Would you ever get back into it? Because you broke a lot of artists, it seems like, and you know the process of breaking new artists and making them, you know, stars.
it's in my blood. I can't lie.
You gotta have that itch.
And I thought about it, and I was about to do a project. I had a project I was going to do that I was going to pour my all into.
Right.
And everything that I knew, everything I thought I knew, every talent I thought I had, I was going to pour into this project, but it didn't happen. And sometimes, man, in the biz, you just want like, okay, because it's a biz and it's a lot of shit that goes with it.
It is.
Excuse me, it's a lot of stuff that goes with
it. People don't see all the back end of it, yeah.
And doing all that. And to do all that and to do it good and to win, as far as I can see, it takes a commitment, it takes a drive, and it takes a purpose. And you got to be focused and be prepared to deal with what needs to be done and up to get it done. And I have to be motivated. And I ain't really motivated. It's a grind, but for what I do, I'm not motivated. There's one situation I looked at, I thought about, but I don't know if I really want to do that. There's some other things in this life that I want to do too.
Yeah.
And then there's some other things in this life that I want to have to do. Because at the end of the day, it's a grind. And it's only seemed like, if the right thing presented itself, perhaps. But I know the Lord has other paths for me to do. Like right now, I'm working with the city in Baltimore and using all my skills and trying to figure out how to get the unvaccinated vaccinated, and taking these exact same skills I use in breaking artists and how to get to the public and the masses and move the needle, and see if I can apply it to this situation. Because for them, they're so stringent in their ways, they don't even see the box, let alone to get outside it. So it's like this. It's a very challenging situation. So hopefully we'll see if I can do that.
Right.
Got my hands at. But what else you want? What else are we talking
about? So do you think it's harder or easier for artists to break today?
So I think it's easier or harder.
Because like you said, they got their phone now, right? They can do whatever they want.
There's more ways to get exposure.
Now.
There's more ways to get exposure. There's more ways now to build an audience for yourself. There's more ways to get more people to be your super fans. If you can, at the end of the day, if you can do those things, then yes, you can break through without the aid of a record company necessarily.
Right.
So it's a little different. It's a little easier, and I say it's easier than the traditional way that you had to be signed, and the A&R person had to look at you. They had to make a commitment. Are we going to sign you? We're going to do all this and that, and the whole rigmarole, and the whole system goes with breaking artists. It's different.
Right.
Like, these kids are working on their social platforms and doing shows and
all day long
and all this stuff, and they grind for a minute. They've been doing it for a minute, and then they have a following, and for the money they're making, sometimes they're good.
Yeah.
The level of money that they're making, bro, I'm good. I don't need somebody trying to get in my pocket and take some other stuff because I want a toothbrush.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna drive down the street in the car. You charging me for it? No. What about?
They got a better car, right?
No. They got their own car.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Their own car. They're good with their own car.
So that was gonna be my next question. Like, do you think artists still need record labels, and what do you think the positives and the negatives are being signed to a record company?
So listen, the positive being signed to a record company is that they have relationships that you don't have. They can walk into doors that you can't walk into. They have platforms, they have relationships that you don't know.
Yep.
They have resources they can spend that you don't have. And they can do a lot of things you can't do. You can grind your ass off. You can grind what you do, but they have a purpose. The deal is, can you forge a relationship that's truly mutual beneficial to both of you, that has equity in it? Right. They ain't just whipping your ass, taking your assets, taking your money. At the end of the day, you left in debt. That's what you have to avoid. And if you're smart enough to know how to get in the game and play with them, but it's all about having some leverage, and then know when you need to go. When you need to renegotiate your position. But record company they have reach. They have reach. They have reach that you don't have, and there's no denying that. And it's a good thing to have.
Right.
And they can make moves for you. They can put you they can put you in places you can put yourself. You
Yeah.
start moving, they put you, before you know, they put you somewhere on Madison Avenue. And you're
That you
doing
really never got
doing
to.
some you're doing some product placement that you ain't know about that, really.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you sitting across from Oprah. Really? Yeah.
Right.
Record
Would have
company
never got that, right?
never got that. So, so they have reach and things they can do to, to build your career. For instance, Beyonce can't get much bigger, but she has a record company.
Yeah.
She has a record company for a reason.
Yeah.
So maybe you should ask Beyonce, B, why you still have that record company?
She knows, right?
She'll tell you. She'll know. So yeah.
So are there any cons? I mean, to be with a record company, what do you think the cons are, if there are?
The cons?
Yeah, to being
The cons is trying to hope. It ain't what you make, it's what you keep. It ain't what you make, it's what you keep.
yeah.
That paradigm has never changed. And one thing I don't understand right now for artists, I think the biggest challenge for artists is getting paid for their craft. You're not selling records anymore. What are you doing? Your guys are doing streams.
Yeah.
But where's these streams at? They on these platforms, Spotify, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, how much they paying you for your music?
Yeah.
Not much. Who's making the money? Spotify and the label, because the label has all the content. So they make the deal. Spotify has a platform.
Yeah.
You get fucked. And if they can't, and they're making money off the shit that you did. They can't do without music.
Yeah.
You're in there recording your music, that may be a cost. You're in there promoting music, that's a cost. You're shooting a video, that's still a cost.
Yeah.
You're incurring all these costs, how do you make your money back? Because all the record company and the streaming service, they're giving you pennies.
Yeah.
They're giving you pennies. So where's your profit? Where's your upside? Where's your revenue coming from?
Yeah.
Because those people, I don't want to say those bastards, but those people they give it to you. And then on top of all that, if you get out on the road and you really want to perform, end of the day, Live Nation's becoming just like a record label. Now you gotta go satisfy them too.
Yep.
Guess what? They don't give a shit about you either.
Yep.
Not really.
Nope.
Not until you get a place where you're profitable for them.
Yep.
And then guess what? They're trying to get as much of your shit as they can too.
Yeah.
So you got all these people inside your pockets. It's a hard game.
Yeah. This is business.
It may look pretty on the outside. Look at all those people. He must be rich. He's on stage and he's glittering and glamour and all that shit. Yeah, right. When he's fighting, trying to go get him a steak dinner.
Yeah.
When the show's over.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a game.
Yeah.
One must know how to play, understand the ins and outs and the nuances of that game. And can you win at the end of the day? But I mean, there's money to be made. I mean, there's artists making tons of money.
Yeah.
And there's record making tons of money too.
Yeah.
So it's just be in a position, making money and sharing dollars, and who's sharing your dollars and who are you in debt to. And the most important thing is not to get in debt.
Yeah. Last question. Do you think, this is $1 million question, by the way, and it's your opinion.
$1 million?
Do you think artists still need radio in this day and time?
Terrestrial radio?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now.
And why? Why do you think that?
Because it's exposure. And you're fighting for every bit of exposure you can get, wherever you can find it. That exposure has changed now. It's not just radio. Now you want to be on people's podcasts, you want to be on their blogs, you want to be on their sites, you want to be on their Facebook, you want to be on their Instagram, you want to be on their TikTok.
Everywhere.
You want to be on Reddit. So all these other outlets now make the mix totally different.
Yeah.
There was radio, then satellite radio. So there's more stuff. Now the question is, what is the future of terrestrial radio?
Okay. What do you think it is?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm looking and I'm seeing, I don't know. Will it be as important as it used to be? I think radio's always going to have a purpose. If nothing more, remember what it's there for.
Yeah.
Radio stations have to have an FCC license.
Yep.
So they can perform a service in a certain community for certain people. That's the basis.
Yes.
They can either do it by talk, they can do it by music, they can do it by slapping somebody's ass, whatever they get away with.
Yep.
And then can they sell that and make a profit by getting somebody to believe that they can reach a certain audience, and will they spend money with them to reach that audience?
Advertise on there. Yep.
Yes. So I think that's always going to be there. But the importance is terrestrial radio still important? It is. Does it still hold the same weight and the same magnitude of importance as it used to? No. Still important. But it used to be in the day, you get in your car, I come see you. I come see you.
Yeah.
And if you are not good,
within
2 weeks, shit's on it popping.
Right.
The market is popping.
Yeah.
We can make moves. I can go out in the market with my artists and go see some people. I can do a date. I can do some stuff. I can say, Mel, meet me at this club and let's hang out with this artist and let's do it. That's the power of radio.
Yeah.
And that day, that was the power of radio. If you're really good, you get on a plane and a train and go from New York to Miami within a week and a half, come back home and say,
look at all those spins, right? But COVID, you think COVID definitely put a wrench in a lot of that, doing the promo dates and getting your artists out there, right?
COVID, yeah, it did. It had to.
It had to. Yeah.
It had to. I mean, COVID changed a lot of things. It had to, by the very nature of what it is. It's an insidious disease that will kill you.
Yeah.
And when people didn't believe it was killing, it was not.
Yeah.
Not to say there's still some, I don't want to call them idiots, but let's just say there's still some people who, I don't know. They just, I guess some people just don't believe shit stinks until it's on your hands.
That's true.
Okay, some people don't believe shit stinks until it's on your hands.
Yeah.
And there's some people, there's a lot of people out there don't believe that shit stinks.
Yeah.
And I hope they don't get it on their hands.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't think COVID's real till somebody close to them or their family dies from it. You know what I mean? And I don't want to say it's too late then, but I mean,
you don't have to say it's too late. Guess what? It's too late.
Yeah.
You don't have to say it. It is what it is. It's too late. It's too late.
Yeah.
So you don't want to find yourself in a too late position.
Very true. Very true. Well, Doug, I appreciate your time, man. A lot of great information. I definitely appreciate it.
Now, if I could be of some help and you got something out of that, great. I appreciate it.